said the power was out for like a day and a half.
There's the state of Oregon.
And then I could stay in the state downstairs. Yeah.
Tsunamanda, 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 Tsunamanda.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Buddhist Church of Oakland. My name is Robert. Thank you very much for being here. We have a wonderful service planned this morning. And let's see. We're going to start this morning's service with silent meditation. So if you'll please join me in Gassho. Our life is filled with warmth in sharing life with others. In personal life, it means to act by placing ourselves in the position of another, and in community life, it means to give service with joy and gratitude for the betterment of all. The practice of making others happy is based upon the clear understanding of life, that is oneness. In deep gratitude, let us realize the oneness of all life, the heart of which is compassion. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, thank you. I'd like to introduce Reverend Michael Endo, who is sitting in for Reverend Bridge, who is in Japan, and we will be chanting Jusei-ge. The words will be on the monitor. It's also in the small purple book and the large purple book. I don't have the pages here.
Page
That's
23, small purple book.
Page 23 in the large, in the small purple book.
93
Okay.
and 93.
And 93 in the large purple book. Thank you.
Tsunamanda, 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 Tsunamanda. Gagon chosegan hishimu jodo shigan fumanzok seifu joshongak gao muryoko Fui dai se shu, fu sai sho bingu, sei fu jo shongak, ga shi jo bundo, myo sho cho jippo, Kukyo mi shomon seifu jo shogak ryoku jin shounen joe shubongyo shigumu jodo Isho tenin shi jinriki endai ko fusho musaido shoujo sankumyo kosai shuyakunan Kai chi egen meshi komoan hei soku sho akudo tsudaten zen shumon 相乗満足いよろじぽ日願修十期天候無限一種解放存公正苦読法上大集中説法ししく供養一切物具足習徳音元年心上満徳意三害用女仏無下知津達未不詳願学エリ投資最小尊志願や国家大仙の感動航空商店人東内妙見ナマンダンブナマンダンブナマンダンブナマンダンブナマンダンブナマンダブがんにしくどく平等性祭道本菩提心往生安楽ナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダープスナマンダー
Okay, thank you very much. Will the Sangha please rise for our opening gatha, Hotoke Sama, on page 55 in the small purple book? And that'll be followed by the three treasures on page 3 in the small purple book, and remain standing for that as well. Thank you. So, Hotoke Sama on page 55 in the small purple book. 使ってみたい仏様の様仏様見明かし上げて拝むとき
Bring this forward here. The three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha's teaching, Buddha Dharma. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together become to ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves your supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, we have to coordinate things here. Thank you very much for your patience. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties we had during the sutra chanting. But right now I'd like to introduce our speaker for today, our very own Reverend Michael Endo. Sensei.
Hi, thank you. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Good morning, everyone. Good to see everyone here, and good morning to everybody on Zoom, YouTube. This morning, I wanted to share a talk, and I'm going to try to share my screen here. Let me see. Just the one? Oops, oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, oh, wait a minute. Is that better? Okay. And let's see, how do I minimize this? Okay. So, good morning. This morning I wanted to talk about, I went to Japan last month, and so something that occurred during this trip that I took. And so I've titled this talk, A Word of Greeting Will Open the Gates Surrounding Your Heart. Okay. Oops, what happened here? Oh. So, to begin the talk, if you could just join me in Gassho, I'd like to offer this reading. Okay. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. How joyous I am, Gutoku Shindan, disciple of Shakyamuni. Rare is it to come upon the sacred scriptures from the westward land of India and the commentaries of the masters of China and Japan, but now I have been able to encounter them. Rare is it to hear them, but already I have been able to hear. Reverently entrusting myself to the teaching, practice, and realization that are the true essence of the Pure Land Way, I am especially aware of the profundity of the Tathagata's benevolence, and here I rejoice in what I have heard and extol what I have attained. Shinran Shonin from his Kyogyo Shinsho. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. So as I was mentioning, I recently returned from a trip from Japan last month. Some friends of mine from last year and a half ago, actually approached me to take them to Japan. So I created this tour And so for this trip, I thought that it would be nice to visit some places out of the ordinary, besides the ordinary, right? So when you go to Japan, we think we're going to go, okay, we'll go to Tokyo and Kyoto and Osaka, Hiroshima, right? All the basic places. So a friend of mine, you all know Brian, the guy, he takes many trips. He'll call it the first timer's trip to Japan, right? And these are the common places you would visit if you're a first timer going to Japan, right? So these are the major cities that you'd like to show people when you take a trip to Japan. But for this trip, I thought about it and created the following itinerary, and it included some of the regular places that we would go. But on this trip, we landed in Tokyo, and right away we flew to Hokkaido, Sapporo, and we stayed there a couple days. And then from there, we made our way back to Tokyo on this route. We came back into Honshu, the main island, into Aomori, and we stayed in a city called Hirosaki. And then we made our way to Kyoto, and one of the places we visited there was Arashiyama. If any of you have been to Kyoto, Arashiyama is known for the bamboo forest, so that's a real popular, famous place, among some other places we went to too. And then we started to make our way back to Tokyo, so I decided let's go to Yamanashi Prefecture. It's from Kyoto, it's on the way back towards Tokyo. And there, I told the group, let's stay at Lake Kawaguchi. And from Lake Kawaguchi, you're supposed to be able to see Mount Fuji, right? So, and then after Yamanashi, we ended up in Tokyo for the last couple days. Okay. So it was a great trip. You know, we had a wonderful time. The weather was beautiful in Sapporo and in Aomori and Yamanashi. But when we got to Kyoto, and this is middle of October, it was still in the low to mid 80s, and the evenings were still in the low to mid 70s, so it was still warm, humid, and because I wasn't there on business, it was shorts and t-shirt weather. So, right. So anyway, so on this trip, something happened during our visit to Yamanashi Prefecture, and that I would like to talk about today. And this brings me to the title of today's talk. So this picture is actually a picture of Yamanashi, a part of Yamanashi Prefecture. And so, let's see, it's kind of missing. Is it on the screen? Okay. So the title of my talk, A Word of Greeting Will Open the Gates Surrounding Your Heart. This is the title of one of the chapters of a book by our current Monshu's father, Zen Monshu Koshin Otani, entitled The Buddha's Wish for the World. And Robert has a copy of the book. I should have brought it up here, but the book is available at the BCA bookstore, right? So you're welcome to look into it. But in this book, Zenmon-sama, which is what we refer to the Monshu's father, Zenmon-sama presents to us the Buddha Dharma in a very understandable, very simple way, and how it applies to our everyday life. So it's a great book. It's a wonderful book. And it was a chance encounter on our trip to Lake Kawaguchi in Yamanashi that reminded me of one of the chapters in this book. So in this particular chapter, Zenmon-sama explains how the opportunity will sometimes present itself to exchange greetings with someone whom we've never met before. Okay. And the chapter begins, this is Zenmon-sama speaking, this happened to me the other day when I went to Tokyo's Kiyosumi Park. The park was featured in a magazine article I had read, and it occurred to me that I would like to see it one day. Zenmon-sama continues, as I was taking a walk on the pathway around the lake, I happened to strike up a most natural conversation with someone who was a complete stranger to me. It is quite beautiful, isn't it? Indeed, it is. I felt quite elated to have this brief exchange without any protocol with someone I had never met. Zenmon-sama continues, of course, some people might say I'm making a big to-do over nothing, but this rather unpretentious conversation left me with a brisk, warm feeling. And Zenmon-sama goes on to describe how both he and the stranger were entranced by the beautiful scenery surrounding them, and this naturally opened up their hearts and made this exchange of greetings possible. Zenmon-sama then goes on to describe another occasion when he was riding the Shinkansen bullet train. The Shinkansen came to an unscheduled stop. It seems they were experiencing some difficulty with the signal lights further down the track. When we learned this was the case, the person sitting next to me started up a conversation. "Oh goodness, what are we going to do?" "Yes, I wonder when it will be up and running again," Zenmon-sama said. Up to that point, Zenmon-sama continues, we had not exchanged a single word, and it was likely we would not have had that conversation at all if the train service had not been interrupted. Now, though we looked at each other in the eyes, turned our heads quizzically, and furrowed our brows, that was the kind of conversation we had. I think this was kind of a mutual greeting, or aisatsu, the Japanese word for greeting one another. Since we were kindred spirits, as far as both trying to reach our destinations as quickly as possible, when the train came to its unscheduled stop, we were suddenly in the same mindset. And that was our entire exchange. But it helped to ease the tension of the moment, Zenmon-sama says. One point Zenmon-sama would like to make at this point in his chapter, but he said, I would like to make here is that there was no hidden agenda to these words. Words like, "It is beautiful, isn't it?" Or, "What are we going to do?" Or so on, once said, often amount to nothing more than pleasantries we exchange on occasion. In this situation, however, even though the person to whom you are speaking is a complete stranger, when you mutually share the same situation, you both stand on the same plane of thought. And this is the beauty of aisatsu. Far better than being stuck on a stalled train all by yourself is to have someone who shares the same thoughts with you. Right? After you have looked at each other in the eyes and exchanged a few words, somehow you feel much better. Zenmon-sama concludes this section of his book with the following story. Years ago, there used to be a small cafe near our temple meaning Honganji in Kyoto. And the man who ran the place once told me the one thing that really pleased him was when the customer said, "Gotsuo-sama," which was a compliment to him on his cooking as they went out of the restaurant. All he had to hear was that one word. Somehow it made him feel that all of the troubles he went through was worth it. You might say a word of greeting has the role of gently pushing open the gate surrounding your heart. So during this trip last month, I mentioned that we were in Yamanashi Prefecture, and the main purpose of this visit to Yamanashi, for me anyway, was twofold. First, as I mentioned, it was to be able to visit a place somewhere in Japan that normally it's not on our regular itinerary. And the second was to stay on Lake Kawaguchi, which is one of the 5 famous lakes at the base of Mount Fuji, and so where we could hopefully, I was hoping we'd be able to see Mount Fuji on this trip. So how many of you have been to Japan? All right. Okay, most of you. So you're riding most of us, we're riding Shinkansen, right? And all of a sudden, somebody in the train says, "Oh, there's Mount Fuji." Whether you're going south or north, it's going to be on one side of the train, right? But somebody will say, "Oh, there's Fuji-san, Fuji-san." So everybody gets excited, right? So you pull out your cell phones or your camera or whatever it is, and you're trying to take a picture, and it's like, right? And I know I've done that many times, and Fuji-san's gone in a flash because Shinkansen's going so fast, right? So this time, I wanted to be right there, right near Mount Fuji, and not on the train, but on the ground without it disappearing in a few seconds. Right? And so I included this stop at Lake Kawaguchi on our tour. However, so you have to understand, right, how often do we get to see Mount Fuji, right? And that if you want to see Mount Fuji, it's always a gamble as to how the weather is going to be and whether it'll cooperate. So we arrived at Lake Kawaguchi in Yamanashi in the early afternoon to this site. This is the actual picture I took of Lake Kawaguchi area. And the forecast was to be overcast and rain, right? And so, as I say, as you could see, this is what it looked like when we arrived in Lake Kawaguchi. And so on the second day, we were there about 2.5 days, I guess. But on the second day, as we go outside and it's cloudy and it's going to rain, I thought of all luck on this trip. And the weather was beautiful in Sapporo, it was beautiful in Aomori, it was beautiful in Kyoto. And then we get to Lake, and we get to Yamanashi. And so, anyway, so we were going to be at Lake Kawaguchi for another day. And wouldn't you know it, I looked at it, still cloudy. Forecast was for probable rain. And this is another photo off of Lake Kawaguchi. And somewhere amidst those clouds is Mount Fuji in the distance. And this is what our tour guide was telling us, right? And so it was on the evening before we were going to leave Lake Kawaguchi to return to Tokyo that I was, so we were at an onsen. Onsen is the hot spring, which Yamanashi is known for, that area, especially around the foot of Mount Fuji. But so I was sitting in the onsen, sad that we probably weren't going to be able to see Mount Fuji on this trip after all the planning and all the anticipation that I had done with our group. So then it was then that I had this out of the blue encounter in the onsen. This gentleman came into the onsen, and at first we were just, minding our own business, cleaning up, washing and bathing. And then I went up. There's an outdoor rooftop bath on the roof of this onsen. And so I went up there, and I was gazing in the distance where Mount Fuji was supposed to be. But a few minutes later, this gentleman also came up to the rooftop see, I don't know what I wrote here. Oh, so we kind of, we said hello. And it was just the two of us, and we said hello to each other, and he just happened to ask, where was I from? And I told him that I was from California. He spoke English to me, obviously, so this guy spoke English, so I just replied in English, and so I think he was kind of surprised, I think he thought I was native Japanese, But anyway, so he said his name was Paul, and that he was originally from he's Thai. He was a Thai gentleman, and he's from Thailand, but he was living in New Zealand now for a number of years, and he was running 2 or 3 Thai restaurants in Auckland. So I asked him if it was his first time to Japan, and he said no, that he had been there a couple of times, right? I told him it was my first time to Yamanashi and Lake Kawaguchi, and that, I had hoped to see Mount Fuji with our group. He said that it was he and his wife's first time also to Lake Kawaguchi as well, and also for the same reason, to see Mount Fuji. But like me, he was disappointed since the weather was so bad, and it was likely that we weren't going to be able to see Mount Fuji by the time we left the next day. And so I said, I guess we'll have to come back another time, and hopefully we'll get to see Mount Fuji. So the next morning, about 4:45, I woke up, and it was, dark outside, but I picked up my cell phone and I checked the weather, report just to see, is it raining outside? And the report, on your phone, it shows the weather, right? Clear, stars, I go, is this true? Can this be? So then I got out of the futon, my bed, washed up really quickly, and then I rushed up to this observation deck on top of the onsen, the hotel, which is a spot where you're supposed to be able to see Mount Fuji clearly, beautifully. And what did I see? It was Mount Fuji in all its glory. This is the early morning when I got up there. The sun was just kind of coming up, but there it was, Mount Fuji, right there. And then it says Mizuno Sato in Japanese right below. So this wall has that name. So you're supposed to take the picture of Mount Fuji because you're at Mizuno Sato Lakeland Hotel, onsen. So there it was. And it was only 5 o'clock in the morning, but I texted all the others in our group. I took 7 people, right? So I'm texting them. I said, hey, get up and come up to the roof because Mount Fuji is clear as a bell, right? So this was a little later in the morning, went back up again, and it was just, right? All I could think was, wow, wow. Unfortunately, there was no snow. It wasn't snow-capped like we typically know Mount Fuji. And apparently there's still no snow on Mount Fuji right now. I guess it's just too warm, global warming. There's just no snow right now, even right now, in the middle of November, right? So then, of course, many of the other hotel guests obviously had the same idea of checking their phone or whatever it was, because not long after, a number of them made their way up to the rooftop to see Mount Fuji. And among the first to come up was Paul, this Thai gentleman from New Zealand, and his wife. And so we looked at each other smiling, and we were both so happy that we were able to see Mount Fuji before we left. So except for those in my tour, we were all basically strangers to one another up on that rooftop, all looking at Mount Fuji. And we couldn't help, of course, to exchange pleasantries with one another. We were everybody's just like, wow, how magnificent that is. And, isn't that just beautiful? This is the remark from everybody as we gathered there. And as we were greeting each other, we started to ask where was everybody from, because there were many foreigners, not necessarily Japanese nationals in this group. And so, California, Australia, China, New Zealand, Norway, and on and on. So this reminded me of this chapter in Zenmon-sama's book, and the book, A Word of Greeting Will Open Up the Gate Surrounding Your Heart. And just like Zenmon-sama's experience as he took that walk in the park in Tokyo, my chance encounter with Paul in the onsen, and of course the next day meeting him once again with all of the other people on the rooftop to see Mount Fuji was truly a wonderful experience. And we were all entranced by the beauty of the scenery in the moment, and this naturally, I think, opened up our hearts and made these exchanges possible. So as I reflected on Zenmon-sama's words and this encounter, I think this is how Shinran Shonin must have felt after having encountered the Nembutsu teaching. After 20 years, we know Shinran Shonin went up to Mount Hiei in Kyoto. This is a picture of Mount Hiei in Kyoto, and he went through rigorous training for 20 years. And then he realized that this was not the path for him, and he made it down the mountain, and it was then that he met his teacher, Honen Shonin, and so many other teachers along the way. And so this we can see, I think this joy, that this encounter brought to Shinran Shonin, we can see in the words in the opening preface of what is probably his most important work, Kyogyo Shinsho, and what I read at the opening. But Shinran Shonin states, how joyous I am, Gutoku Shinran, disciple of Shakyamuni. Rare is it to come upon the sacred scriptures from the westward land of India and the commentaries of the masters of China and Japan. But now I have been able to encounter them. Rare is it to hear them, but already I have been able to hear. And reverently entrusting myself to the teaching, practice, and realization that are the true essence of the Pure Land Way, I am especially aware of the profundity of the Tathagata's benevolence, and here I rejoice in what I have heard and extol what I have attained. I think for Shinran Shonin, having met with his teachers and masters of India, China, and Japan was one of the most joyous moments in his life. And of these, there are 7 masters that Shinran Shonin revered throughout his lifetime and had the most respect for, but it was Honen Shonin that he actually had direct contact with during his life in Kyoto. And that meeting had to have such a profound effect on his life that he would lead from that moment of meeting with Honen Shonin. So Honen Shonin as you face the picture on the left, and of course Shinran Shonin on the right. And because of Shinran Shonin's joy, and because the gate surrounding his heart opened up, we have been able to hear the teachings and receive the teachings from him. And because of our encounter with the teachings, we react and respond, as I mentioned. It's our moment of R&R in our life. We react and respond. We acknowledge with Nembutsu, Namu Amida Butsu, our deep gratitude to Shinran Shonin for sharing with us what he learned and in what he rejoiced. We read the Three Treasures often, every Sunday, basically, but it opens, hard is it to be born into human life, now we receive it. And difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One, now we hear it. And so when we hear these words, we're reminded that may the gate surrounding our hearts also open up as we hear and receive the teachings from Shinran Shonin and other Dharma teachers in our life. And so it was just this experience. It wasn't just a trip to Japan and a little vacation, but it was in fact a moment of experiencing, encountering the Dharma just by chance at this Lakeland Hotel, Mizuno Sato in Yamanashi. So not only just seeing Mount Fuji was the joy, but of course to meet those people too. And when I did, honestly, when I went up and the weather was clear, and as soon as I saw Mount Fuji in the distance, so clear. I mean, how often do we get a photo of Mount Fuji like that, right? But I don't know. It was in my mind. It's it was a Namman Dabutsu moment. Namu Amida Butsu, Namman Dabutsu, Arikata. It's just so grateful that it did appear for us. Yeah. But just like that, Shinran Shonin, I'm sure, was so happy that the Nembutsu appeared to him too, amidst the clouds and the confusion that he was going through those 20 years in Mount Hiei, having met with Honen Shonin after he came down from the mountain. I think that too was a feeling of Mount Fuji, this image of Mount Fuji in his life, something great, something terrific, something spectacular, right? And so hopefully, when you encounter new people too, somebody you don't even know, somebody in the grocery store, somebody on your walk, just as Zenmon-sama did in that park in Tokyo, these encounters will begin to open up your heart, the gate that surrounds your heart too. So thank you all again for joining us this morning, and please join me in Gassho as we close. A word of greeting will open the gate surrounding your heart. Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu. Thank you. So I think I'm supposed to stop this. Oh yeah. Hi. Thank you very much. Namu Amida Butsu, Namu.
Okay, thank you very much, Sensei. Sounds like it was just a wonderful trip, and thank you for sharing your experience with us today. Right now, I'd like to have the Sangha please rise for reading of the Metta Loving Kindness Meditation. It's actually in this blue folder, and it's an orange sheet towards the second to last page. So if you would all rise, we'll just read this together. It's called Metta Loving Kindness Meditation. Metta Loving Kindness Meditation. May all beings be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May I be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to me. May I live in peace and harmony. May my family be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my teachers be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my friends be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May strangers be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May my enemies be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. May all beings be happy and well. May no harm or difficulties come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, so we'll try and work through these announcements quickly. I'm sorry for the technical difficulty we've had with the internet today. So once again, thank you very much for being here. And our Buddhist education study class and Dharma chat will resume in January. The schedule is being worked on right now, so please stay tuned and watch for announcements on the website and through the Bushin newsletter for our schedule coming out soon, hopefully before January. Coming up, what's next? In 2 weeks, our Bodhi Day service will be on Sunday, December 8th. And actually, let me back up for a second. Next week is Thanksgiving weekend, Sunday, December 1st. There will be no services here at BCO at all, so nobody will be here next Sunday, December 1st. But the following Sunday, December 8th, will be our Bodhi Day and Dharma School service. It'll be the last regular Sunday service of 2024. That'll be at 10 o'clock. And as I just mentioned, Dharma chat and study class are still being worked on, so those will be announced hopefully soon. Once again, the Bodhi Day service on Sunday, December 8th, commemorates the day that Siddhartha Gautama became the Buddha and achieved enlightenment. So that'll be on Sunday, December 8th at 10 a.m., our Bodhi Day and Dharma School service. The following Sunday after that will be our annual Mochitsuki event. So we need help. So please, if you're able to come and join us first thing Sunday morning, December 15th, to help process the rice and pound it and all that, we'd love to have you. So thank you. It's a lot of fun too. So we hope you'll join us. And also that the ordering aspect of ordering your mochi now is online on the BCO website. So please go ahead and place your orders for your mochi, for the Mochitsuki on Sunday, December 15th. And at the end of the month, our New Year's Eve service will be on Tuesday, December 31st at 3 p.m., followed by our New Year's Day service will be on Wednesday, January 1st, 2025 at 11 a.m. So our New Year's Eve and New Year's Day services are scheduled, so we hope you'll join us for that. If you'd like to become a member of the Buddhist Church of Oakland, we'd love to have you. So please either use the QR code or inquire at the office, and there's the Sangha community brochures downstairs in the lobby. So please feel free to pick one up. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask any one of us. Another thing is our board of directors is still being determined for next year. So please, members, you should have received a ballot in your, or ballots in your mailbox. And those are due back this coming Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. So please turn yours in, either whether it be today or send it into the office, but get it in by Wednesday if you would. And then we'll be counting them next week. And then also, I guess a side note is that the BWA, OBWA ballots are out too. So go ahead and send those in if you haven't already. So that's for the Buddhist Women's Association. Once again, thank you very much for supporting the Buddhist Church of Oakland. If you'd like any more information, please visit our website. We really try to keep it updated up to the day. So please take a look at it. And if you have any questions, go ahead and let us know. Okay? So, let's see. Okay, next. Any guests or visitors today? Do we have any guests or visitors today? Okay. Well, thank you once again. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate you coming and supporting us today. We're going to have our closing gatha. If you would rise for Ondok. I may have lost the battery. Okay. It's on page 76 in the small purple book and page 220 in the large purple book. If you would all please rise.
Amidabuts, Namo Amidabuts, Namo Amidabuts, Namo Amidabuts, Namo Amidabuts, Namo Amidabuts.
Okay, thank you. Please be seated. Didn't get a chance to thank Reverend Michael Lindo for for conducting the service and for his Dharma talk today. Steve Todosaki for playing the organ. The Host 9 group, which is downstairs, taking care of hospitality for those of us here, and the Zoom crew downstairs taking care of the Zoom and YouTube recording. So thank you all very much for your help in today's service. This concludes this morning's service. Thank you so much for coming. You're welcome to stay downstairs and have coffee with us. And if you haven't offered incense, please do so before you go. Thank you so much.